Almost punch drunk from the intensity that was Angola, I enter Botswana, a country very familiar to me. I'm going to be spending a few days at Chikawi on the Okavango River near the most northwesterly part of the country. I'm being taken through the northern part of Botswana by a familiar travelling companion. It's Mike Main. He's written several books on the Kalahari and I've travelled with him before. Also my producer Martin Steer, who wants to find out how much this off-road caravan is going to hinder our progress travelling in the wilderness. It's going to be an interesting experiment for me as well. I was here last in 1988. It hasn't changed much. The river's of course exactly the same. Camping site is exactly the same. The company's different though, my wife's not with me this time. It was actually just before I married her. I stood on this bank here and I was throwing in lures after tigerfish and I caught one and I landed it on the river bank right here. I remember this is our camping site there where the camera is, and Gwyn came up to the fish kind of very excited looking at the fish, and then the fish jumped and she leapt out of the way. I promised her that I would not show you the video footage of that moment. Well, a bit. My journey now has a lot in common with my expedition of 1998. One thing is that we followed many rivers then too, but this time my purpose is more serious. As I spend time on the river, watching the force which it passes me, I have time to reflect on my adventure through Angola that has brought me here. 15 days ago, I stood at the very source of this river in the highlands of Angola. It was then that I collected water from its source. My quest now is to explore its length, to find its very end. The first thing I'm going to do is get onto the water. The Great Okavango Delta begins in what is called the Panhandle, but as I'm about to find out, looking at a map can be very misleading. Elaine, our boat driver and guide, has lived on this river for 20 years. The area abounds in life. Here, little bee-eaters burrow in a mud bank. And of course, there's the fish eagle, about as common here as a sparrow is everywhere else. Now, I'm so excited to be here. It's been so long since I've seen this part of the river. And what's amazing is, when you look at the map of the river on the Panhandle, it looks like a single river feeding the Okavango. It's not that at all. We've just come down from Chikawi, a few kilometers, and it's split into a myriad of streams. It's superb. I didn't know it was that nice this far north. The water here too, like at its source, is pure, clean, clear. thoroughly enjoyed my morning on the river. It's the first time in 15 years that I've been here. But what I would really like to do is to catch a fish to feed to that fish eagle.
Could you see them at the bottom just now?
My fishing attempts have been interrupted by my producer dropping his sunglasses overboard. And so all fishing attempts are now diverted to getting them out. Tell me when.
Go away. One time I don't want you here.
That fish is trying to... I think they're also attracted to you.
Are you shooting it?
No.
Yeah.
I had them.
You're actually seeing
The glasses.
Oh well, perhaps another day.
Well done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Well done.
Early morning on the 39th day of my expedition. We are camped below ancient rocks that were once the home of hundreds, maybe thousands, but now all but deserted. I'm walking on the east-west road from the Panhandle and the road leading to Tadillo Hills, the hills behind me. As you approach them, absolutely amazing. It's an enormous flat area and these towering hills. I've wanted to come here for a very, very long time, and the reason why I haven't is that when I first arrived in this area in 1988, visited Chikawi, I had drunk some bad water in Maun. I was sick for 3 days. Absolutely awful. So those 3 days were the 3 days we had allocated for Tadillo Hills. So it's of great significance to me now that I am going to visit Tadillo, somewhere where I wanted to visit for so many years. Mike is passionate about Tadillo, so much so that it's difficult to stop him talking about them. But then again, why should I?
They were first recorded by a European, a German geologist, Dr. Siegfried Persager, who was here in the 1890s, 1895 I think. Livingston, them 1847, 48, 49, 50, did not visit them, but he knew of them because he wrote about them. Perhaps the most famous visitor was Lawrence van der Post, who was here in the 50s.
He wrote a book.
And it features what is now known as Van der Post's panel.
Yes.
It's a remarkable panel high up on an open, exposed face with beautiful, beautiful rock art on it.
That's the one.
That's one of the
iconic eland.
One of them, the
yes.
icon, the eland is one, and I'll show you others.
Yeah.
A pair of rhinos, which are extraordinary, but they are the iconic pictures for Tadillo. And what we're seeing here is part of a cluster of 3 main hills and a couple of very small outstanding rocks. Right behind me is the male hill, almost pyramid in shape, not quite. Beyond that lies a much lower female hill. These are the names of Bushmen.
Can we see the female hill?
That's the female you can see now.
The round
male, then the much lower female,
right.
And beyond that one called the child, and beyond that 2 isolated outcrops, very, very small. And all 3 have got rock art on them.
Right.
The whole collection of hills is a World Heritage Site.
Okay.
This monster in front of us stands at 1,395 meters, and the height from the plain where we are now to the top is 385 meters, a challenging climb, and people have died on there climbing it. And that's interesting because Van der Post himself wrote about the curse of the hills, and if you don't propitiate the gods, then disaster will befall you. And he describes how his camera jammed and the British climbers didn't go and pay anything to the gods, so they died.
It smacks of the Himalaya, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. But it's part of the magic, the extraordinary magic of these hills. They are quite amazing, visually and emotionally.
One more thing to do before we leave Tudelo. There are very few San villages remaining in the Kalahari, but this is one. And there is even a chance that we may meet a genuine, pureblood bushman.
You haven't grown, you're still short, eh? I can't believe it. Okay, these are for you. Okay. Just bought you some tea, some tobacco, some salt. Some tea. Who is the one who does these? This is the one. I want to see the guy who does these. What's his name?
She's coming.
You're going to have a look at these. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, look at this. These are
You got some?
It's made from vegetable ivory, the extremely dense nut found inside the seed of a hyphene palm.
Ashley taught them this.
And talking about nuts, that reminds me, I must get some gifts for my daughters. The bangles are handmade right here. And although they don't look very different from any other Bushman bangle, these are the real thing.
That's rather nice, that is. I'm going to get some more like this one. Three.
I got three.
Yeah.
I got also three.
Just one more.
No, only one.
Only one.
Meanwhile, the treats in the box, brought by Mike, are being particularly appreciated by one very old gentleman.
Wait. Yeah? Is it okay? Let's see me. Now, what's happened at the museum, Jeff? They stopped selling this. Yeah, and we think they are keeping you.
Tudelo Hills has been, as we prepare to leave for our next destination, I think back at it and it's actually a symbol of this entire expedition. There have been so many places that I found myself at that have been nothing like what I expected. It's an incredible place. It has an incredible energy. It's an intangible thing. And if you read about Tudelo, every author talks about its spirit and talks about its energy. It's something about the place that is extraordinary. Apart from being very beautiful, particularly the way it sits out amongst this gently rolling plains and this enormous hill. It's an amazing, amazing place.
The Okavango River, which we are following, is to the east of us. We're going to return briefly to Shikawi because I have some unfinished business there, and that is to feed that fish eagle. This beautiful creature is the famous fighting tigerfish, Africa's fierce underwater predator. They can grow 10 times this size, but this one is just right for our task. Our guide on the boat is Bernd Kirschman. He's normally at the other end of the camera, being a documentary cameraman himself. But today he's piloting the boat and going to invite Mr. and Mrs. Fish Eagle for dinner. First, Bernd cuts up papyrus stems, which float, and will make... Oh, dear. Oh, makes my eyes water. It'll make sure that the fish doesn't sink when we throw it into the water. It's a waiting game. Our presence has attracted 2 fish eagles, but they don't seem very hungry. Then one of the eagles swoops down, but it doesn't like what's on the menu. Bernd has prepared a second fish, this time in a white wine sauce with shallots and basmati rice. Then another. This time he drops it.
Second one from the car coming in. It's coming in. This one coming in. Alright, this one also. And he's going in. And he comes out. Oh yeah, beautiful. Oh my god.
It's a sight you never forget. Truly one of Africa's great spectacles. Having returned briefly to Shikawi, it's time to check my vehicle before we head off into the wilderness again. And I found something wrong with it.
Yeah, it's coming loose. Sounds right.
I don't know how much more I can go because I'm going to lose this bolt.
This is what remains of our previous fan belt. Fortunately, this engine has 2 of the main fan belts that drive the water pump and the alternator. One of them, well, I don't know when it happened. I have checked the engine about 4 days ago, I suppose. I would have seen that. Anyway, so we're here. I carry a spare. This is an old one, but luckily I have a spare.
It's an easy repair, taking no more than 30 minutes.
Okay, because I actually think it was slightly too loose, and that might have been the reason why it
Went off in the first
when
place.
came off and disintegrated, because there was friction, because it was a bit soft.
Do 1,000.
The road, or I should say track ahead, is going to be rough. We fill up all our fuel and water tanks.
You are. No, it's going to cause a problem later. Yeah. I do up. Where's mother? Here, mother. Oh yes, I am.
To travel further east, we must cross the Okavango River.
This morning, with Mike Main now with us, I asked him, what happens to this water? And there was a smile on his face and he said, I'll show you what happens to this water. I'm not sure where he's taking us, but he's taking us to some place special, and he has a special story to tell about it. Can't wait.
Mike is crossing the river first, but we won't have to wait long, for there are 2 ponts operating here. I can't help but look at all of this water. About 3 weeks ago, in the highlands of Angola, I watched it. I stood in it. I drank it. I swam in it. It's probably taken all of those 3 weeks to get to this point. And I'm still carrying with me the water I collected at its very source. I mentioned earlier on that I'm conducting a bit of an experiment here. I want to find out if an off-road trailer or caravan will in any significant way halt or slow our progress as we travel overland. Well, this is where the road ends and where off-roading begins. As I watch the Jurgens Explorer being pulled onto the pont, it's plain to see that any ordinary trailer would bottom out, firstly on the drawbar and then on the rear overhang. Well, so far, so good.
Believe it, this service is free. It goes all day. No charge. Amazing. Swing it around. This dog, they're all over Botswana. They're collectively known as the Ngami Land Pointer. They're a half-breed, triple breed, quadruple breed, 4 million breed, and they've all got the same look. And they look pointer-like. I don't know if that's its official name, but that's what they're collectively known as.
On the other side, it's plain to see the Okavango River is in deep flood. And it's into this flood we must drive.
It's just incredible.
There's the road.
There's the road.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And it's very distinct. You can see how it curves around the
Around
grass
the thing there.
works its way through the trees.
And
Well, I think it's a bit wet myself.
it's very wet to me.
All right.
It's just unbelievable.
My expedition to follow the Okavango River from its source to its end is in its 6th week. Since being in Botswana, I've explored Tsadillo Hills, rode down the Okavango Panhandle, gone fishing for the legendary fighting tiger, and fed them to a fish eagle. But today, the water that we have been following all this way is causing us grief. As much as the cows love it and the locals look forward to it, to us it's a major obstacle.
All right. This is what we should do.
Okay.
We're at Iretsa.
Yeah.
I'm travelling with my guide Mike Main, author and lecturer on the Kalahari, and we are trying to reach the Cylinder Spillway, which, because of the intense flooding, is flowing for the first time in 40 years.
There'll be water backing up in there, but I don't think it will be so deep.
On the road, we're on the eastern side of the Panhandle, and so typical of rural Botswana. It's what I love so much about this country. So before we tackle the off-road stretch to Cylinder, I think we should take in some of the local flavour.
So are you going to have your hair cut or am
I'm going to ask them exactly. I want my hair done, please. Who is going to do it?
like that stuff?
Like
her style?
Like this style.
I think so.
Well, she can try.
She can try. No, we're not going to try, Ma. Hey, it's very nice. Hey, look at this. Look at the detail there. Hey, that's fantastic. What does it cost for this? 40 pula?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know any.
How much?
7 pula.
7? Never. Never. Do you know what this costs in Gabs?
How much?
60 pula to do this in Gabs.
To do this?
Yes,
Okay,
braids.
to do this.
Like this
So
one.
expensive.
60 pula.
Yeah.
How much is it here?
60. 65, 70.
She'll do my leg.
This morning, while waiting patiently at the Paradise bus stop, we were passed by a young boy pushing a toy car. This has given me an idea. Why not fix a camera to it? The road moving south to the east of the Panhandle provides a brilliant view across the waterlogged plains, and from here also how remarkably flat this part of Botswana is. And even a view of Tsadillo Hills that we visited a week or so ago.
I'm travelling now with the company of Mike Main. Now, those of you who have seen previous programs of mine will know Mike. He's an expert on Botswana. He's written several books about it, both guidebooks and books about its natural history. Such an interesting man. And travelling with him is always fantastic because Michael, you'll be on an ordinary road and an ordinary kind of day and he'll pull over. And you'll think, oh, what now? And it's always something of interest. And sometimes it's absolutely amazing.
Andrew, this is the place I was telling you about. This is Bana Bametsi. It's an extraordinary establishment. It's a school founded by a visionary former Peace Corps volunteer, American, who came to this country probably 20 years ago. Did his service. Then he worked in the Ministry of Education in Botswana. Did that for 10 years. Set extraordinary standards, but finally found the bureaucracy too much for him, but wanted to go on doing something useful. So the land board gave him a huge tract of land just down this track. It's on the banks of the Okavango. And out of nothing, he has created a school for dropouts. All the kids who drop out of the education system and spend their time in the towns and villages in Ngami land, sniffing glue, trying to wash cars, stealing when they can, begging and whatever. He swept them up. He's got them in this school here. He's got volunteer teachers. They now get a bit of government support, but not much. It's funded by private funds, donor funds, and he has built a school here literally from the ground up. They started in tents, and people have donated bricks and cement and stone, and they have built a library, and then they built a generator room, and then they built a chicken coop, and they grow chickens now, they grow vegetables, and gradually a school is coming up. It's an extraordinary achievement.
Over what period of time?
I think he's been here for about 10 years now.
Right, okay.
8 to 10 years.
All right.
I think he's got 50 odd kids now,
Yeah.
and they will sit exams, and 3 or 4 will pass every year,
Yes.
5 or 6 sometimes,
Yeah.
kids who would never otherwise have got a chance. And because they've built the school themselves, they've learned how to do carpentry, they've learned plastering and brick building.
Fantastic.
They go out and they get jobs. It's an incredible achievement. He's a remarkable man. Steve Harpt is his name.
Yeah, meet him now.
Well, let's go down and meet him. Is Steve here? Yeah, he's there. Good. We came to see him. I want to bring my friends and tell you what a wonderful job you're all doing. Except you, of course. I have to tell the police about what you are doing. Stand up.
Daddy.
Hey, you've lost weight.
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. What the bloody... Hi.
Hello.
This is my mate Andrew,
Hi, Andrew.
and he is making a film, but not about you. That's Visa's practicing.
I can see that. Yeah,
Andrew's-
you're learning how to use the focus on your new camera, right?
How's the school, Steve?
Right now
Generator
it's
is fixed.
fantastic.
The generator.
The one is running.
I see there's power coming down.
Yeah, we've just cleared that line.
This is the marimba band that went to play in Kalahari somewhere. Was it in England?
No, I started this in 2000. I think the birthday party was 2001 or 2002. So we had played for them in Mount, so they phoned us up and said, "Hey, can you bring the band?" I said, "You know how hard it is to travel with a marimba band? In fact, the more traveling I do, the more I wish I had started a flute band." Okay, guys, let's go, guys.
as a discipline device. So you can imagine 45 degrees temperatures. If you don't do your homework, you can't swim for 2 days. If you don't do it again, then you can't swim for the next 4 days. Apparently it is incredibly effective. Not 6 months after we filmed this, Steve Haupt was awarded the Presidential Medal for Meritorious Service.
I saw there was a fork in the road. And I'd gone up along
The toilet we have to pass, and this
Oh,
is
on your little map, on your
on
little
my little
instructions.
map, and then it says pass between the pink houses, and this is the track. But somehow or other they put a C across the track.
Somebody put a C across the track.
So Shesten has the suggestion. I don't think it's going to work, but we can try it. Let's see if we're allowed to and can take a vehicle across that bridge. Because what we need to do is to get on. This is a Molapo. It's a long flooded channel. And then
This isn't cylinder yet.
this is the cylinder water. All of this is cylinder water.
Oh, okay. But it hasn't
But you know,
narrowed.
it's like fingers. Possible if
Yeah.
we can cross this bridge,
Yeah.
which is conceptually there, we could maybe get around this channel, and maybe get down here onto the track, and at least see if it's there. Otherwise, we're going to have to go through the vet fence and hit.
And the vet fence? I mean,
The
now
vet
the
fence
water's
is-
this high. Will we make it to the vet fence?
I don't know. When I've done that trip twice, and there's never been any water on that trip. It's incredibly sandy, but I've never seen water on it. Don't remember any channels.
Okay.
With water this high,
Who knows?
who knows? Just
I
look at the
can't-
water. Like, it is pumping through here.
And look at the. I can't believe it.
Look at that. You know, there's so many nutrients in the water when new land is flooded that all the life in the water often swims to that point.
With it.
With it, because it's it's picking up new
All the-
insects, all the new stuff that. Look at that. This is Shesten, come and look at this swarm of fish.
It's amazing to think that all that water in Angola rushing under those bridges and over those boulders and the waterfalls and that just an enormous amount of water flowing in those rivers of Angola is affecting our trip right now. First river blocked. We are now going to try again each of the rivers along here to see if we can get through them to actually find the actual cylinder spillway itself. I have no idea if we're even going to be able to get across any of them because the water is very, very high. I've got to be careful there, my pani stumps. I don't want to drive over one of those because I don't want to change a tire tonight. Mike has done it again. He finds the most amazing places to camp. How's this for a campsite, eh? Oh, well, I was just saying how much this is to me what it's all about.
I turned off early because I was worried about time. So
This is a beautiful campsite.
wonderful. It's not my best. I can do a lot better than this, but
I
it's,
know you can.
this gets 5 out of 10. But it'll do for tonight. Join you for a drink in 15 minutes.
Isn't it wonderful?
Here I am at a very special place, a very special moment. The sun just rising behind me. I'm standing for the first time on this expedition in the waters of the Okavango. Not the Okavango River, not the Okavango Panhandle, but the Okavango Delta. Now, the reason why this is suddenly the Delta, a little earlier on it was the Panhandle, is because this is the exact point on the map where the water actually runs down the Panhandle and starts to curve and starts to spread into this enormous floodplain. And this particular place is right at that point where it starts to head further east than southeast. And this area is called Cylinder. And this is part of the Cylinder spillway, which actually travels quite far east. So with the sun behind me coming up, I'm going to take my first drink of water. I was told in 1972 by Lloyd Wilmot, if you drink the waters of the Okavango, you shall return. He was right. It's indescribable.
You can watch your toast being made.
You can film your toast being made.
You can film it.
Turn them over about, like that.
Yeah.
You do like four times. And while all the hair gets taken off your legs.
Yeah.
I was strolling around the camp this morning and I came across this. Lots and lots of pieces of wood that have obviously been cut with some kind of tool, probably an adze, which is a tool used in biblical times for building boats. My first reaction was perhaps a mokoro was built here, but this is not the wood that they built mokoro from. Mike suggested that in fact they probably built a sled here. You see, some of the people around here don't have easy access to wheels, so they build sleds. So we must go and find one. I want to see what one of these things looks like. So now, a local, we just asked as we left that village, is the track clear? They said no, water, deep. We're on this track now. We're going to go to the cattle fence. We're going to see if we can cross it. We're in this narrow track. One would never know that this track even existed. The only way to actually explore like this in many ways is to go with a chap like Mike. And the reason why Mike knows about all these minor tracks and back routes is that he spends his life exploring this country. And that's his book. Let me give him a plug. Ta-da! That's Mike's book. Visitor's Adventure Guide to Botswana. Best guidebook to Botswana by a long way. I mean, really, a hell of a long way. Very, very good book.
And not much further, and I find just what I've been looking for. It's a sled.
This is my friend Andrew. Oh, and this is cameraman. Oh. And we just want to see this very fine sleigh and see how it's made. Single piece of mapani.
So this is mapani.
This piece
chassis,
at the bottom.
The chassis is mapani.
Just one single piece.
Yes.
And it'll have holes in it for stakes like this, probably on that side somewhere. There they are. And you take them out and adjust it to the side of the load that you have to carry.
Wow.
And watch it go. It goes slides so easily over the sand. It makes good sense. Let's see it go. Take them on. Thank you, Ralph. You see how it slides so easily.
Aye, shame. Sorry, man. Now I feel bad. I'm chasing it with a camera. He lost his load.
We're going to help him put it back on.
Yeah.
We'll help you put it back on, Ra.
There's the one
For the back as well. I think one goes underneath.
Four is too heavy.
Okay, you're going to take three of them. We'll take three.
This is mapani. It's a lot heavier than mapani, isn't it?
Ah.
give it.
did you?
He had a loop. Hook it onto anything there like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
We haven't been more than a few kilometres this morning, and already the water is blocking our path.
Mike's gone to find out if this track now gets across. Not sure exactly what he's doing. There's just water everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's water.
I'm really becoming quite concerned. Mike tells me that it's not 40 years since the cylinder spillway has flowed, but 80. Every stream we've crossed is no longer a stream, but a vast lagoon.
Yeah, you can. The substrate is hard,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter where you go. That's incredible, isn't it?
Wow.
Water is really high. The village has obviously been cut off, and they've put all this sand in there to make a track.
It's actually flowing.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's flowing strongly.
Ah, but it's flowing.
It's flowing out.
this
The
way.
water is receding.
So the water's going down.
The water's going down, which is what one would expect.
That doesn't bode well for our.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But anyway, we'll see. If we can't get in across some of the water at Gadikwa, then we'll go through the buffalo fence, and we'll go on another 20 k's. Then we'll hit the channel. There, the cylinder is actually in a channel.
Okay.
We may not be able to cross it again, but at least we'll be able to see the river itself.
Okay.
So we'll go and have a look at that. Now, this is quite something. I've never seen water this high.
Mike soon paid the price for being the trailblazer.
Stop the caravan. No, you can't get past me. Okay, I'll come in. Were you doing a reverse maneuver or what?
I was just reversing. It's just a straight pull onto that anthill.
Head straight this way.
Yeah. You remember? Yeah. You just.
You're right. You know.
You just need to hitch up to me here. This is hard ground. I haven't even tried to get out. So just hitch.
I should just be able to drag you out.
Day 44 of my expedition to follow the course of the Okavango. We've spent the day trying to locate the cylinder spillway, a channel that is flowing for the first time in 80 years. But the water we've been following all this way is now blocking our progress, and the more we move east, the more difficult it's becoming.
It's black. They call it cotton mud. Mike's gone off to investigate. Because we're still, 5 k's or so from the gate? Good 5 k's.
I'm travelling with my good friend and Kalahari expert, Mike Main. The going is so slow that at times Mike is having to recce first on foot.
What do you reckon?
That's good. It's easy. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's perfect. It's a piece of cake. And I think this is the last one. I think we can silently begin to think of getting to Cylinder today.
Wow, okay.
The reason I think it's the last one, the further you go
Yes.
north, the higher the land must be.
This is unbelievable. I'm expecting to bump into Noah and his menagerie any moment. But Mike, on the other hand, seems to think that everything is just fine.
We could be there by 3:30, which is all right, and we'll break down at the junction on the riverbank.
Perfect.
Sounds like a wonderful idea.
Well, we
Let's roll, guys.
I think we made it actually. I think we made it. I think we are actually going to get to the proper Cylinder spillway. Good.
Not quite so fast, Mike.
I am suddenly been asked to trailblaze and I got stuck.
What can we do to help?
I would say that I am.
Okay, go! Go, 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 go! Whoa, whoa! Sorry about that.
Yeah, you probably did the right thing.
It's amazing. The kinetic energy in this is just
They are
incredible.
amazing things. What did we do before they came along? I don't remember.
We dug. That's what we did. And it doesn't look like the sticky stuff is behind us.
All right, so Mike is stuck there, so I have to recover him this way because behind him is very soft. This is quite firm, but there's a log in the way, so we're going to have to cut the log and then get in here. But the road is there. The road is just the other side of the log, so it's actually worth persevering, but we've got to get rid of that log before we can get Mike out of his mud.
Road is over. Now, Cheston, get out of the way. Cheston, you got to get hurt there. Keep pushing.
Oh dear. Let me see. This is the fourth vehicle stuck today.
Perfect. Come forward.
Ready, Martin, go! Now,
Okay, Mr. Cameraman, if you stay there, I will run you over.
Oh dear. Well, that'll be number 5, won't it?
let me get the shovel out and I'll start clearing that area.
Right, early in the morning on day, actually I've lost track completely now, it's down there in the titles. We're still trying to get to Cylinder. We got stuck 5 times yesterday. It's not actually a record for me. My record is 7 times in one day in Makarikari salt pans. The last time we got stuck, it was so difficult to get out, we decided, chill out, pitch tent, let's camp here for the night. We did get the cruiser out before nightfall. But we are yet to see the Cylinder spillway proper. Mike reckons we're about 1 kilometre from the vet fence. From there, he reckons it's an easy ride down to Cylinder. So, we are still going to battle on this morning. I'm determined to see the cylinder and tell you that story.
Right, things are looking good. Right, things are not looking good. Mike's been wrong all along. I think he has been completely flabbergasted by how much water is here. He's been here a dozen times before, has never seen it wet. I'm having my doubts whether cylinder is reachable.
Mike's gone off for quite a long time now. The track itself is now soft, and that's, I mean, where we got stuck yesterday, we were skirting the track because it was too deep, and when you go off the track it's incredibly soft. Now what's happened now is the track itself is soft. Mike's been gone for a long time to try and find a path through. See what he says when he comes back, but I have a feeling in my gut this might be the best view we get of the cylinder spillway. It's unbelievable how the water has covered the land.
It's a serious bit of water at the end of the trip. We can't get through here.
Where was that piece that was like ridiculous?
Look, here. Look, it's like a jelly. And your tyres don't hold in there. Look at this.
Look at really? And
it's so
away.
hard over there.
And it's 1 foot away.
You put your hand foot there. Look at that. That you can drive on. This you can die in.
I asked Mike to remind me, why had he brought me to this place?
When you look at a map, you can see that the delta comes down like this. The panhandle, it's about 100 kilometers long, reaches Cylinder, and then it spreads out like fingers.
Yeah.
And one of them is a dry channel that, if you follow it very carefully, goes for about 150 kilometers from Saronga all the way to Linyanti. And in the 40s and 50s, when this became known, people used to speculate that, when the Linyanti was high, water flowed from the Linyanti to the Okavango and vice versa. That doesn't happen, because the difference in height is 30 meters, just 90 feet difference in height over 160 kilometers.
And you know for a fact that it is flowing now.
It's
That's
now
why we're sitting in this situation.
At 2:30 on the 17th, I think, of August last year, 2009, the water met. When I say the met, the Okavango was spilling down towards the Linyanti, but of course the Linyanti was high and it backs up. And somebody was very fortunate to be there at that moment and watch the waters meet. And that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to see the Cylinder in its channel as it runs down into the Linyanti. But there is so much water, we just can't get close to it.
Yeah.
Extraordinary feature.
Well, I think we had a damn good try.
We had a very good try.
Back along the way we came, through the water and mud. It's taken us the entire day. We camp on the edge of the swamp. We're heading south towards the town of Maun, where I've got something to really look forward to. But first, I've been taken to a basket weaver. Botswana is famous for its baskets, and no place are they better made than here at Etcha. A large basket, such as this, is a labour of love for about 2 months. It will sell for about 700 rand. Not much, you will agree, for such an achievement. Their little store is full of examples of their craft, but it's all very familiar to me. My own home having examples that I bought over 20 years ago. You see, I once lived in Botswana, and not that very far from here either. And that's where I'm going to now. I'm going to go and visit my old home. And this is what I've been looking forward to today. My wife Gwyn is joining me for this leg of my journey.
Hi. I'm Andrew. Tom Rod. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
We are going together to see our old home in the swamp. Our home, I'm sure you've already guessed, is in the heart of the Okavango Delta. Gun and I ran a luxury lodge here, Delta Camp, located on an island called Nyoga. From up here, no wonder it beat us. I've made this flight from Maun to Nyoga Island probably 20 times, and I have never seen so much water. It is truly a wonderful thing to see. Aha! I've seen something I recognise. It's our cricket pitch. Well, it's not really a cricket pitch, but if you look over the nose of the aircraft, it looks like a cricket pitch. I had to maintain this runway for a whole year. Not that I minded. It was wonderful. And we called it the cricket pitch formally after David Gower, the English cricket captain, came to Delta Camp and we had a game of cricket. That's David bowling. And that's him taking a cover drive. We lost the match. He didn't play very well. No change there. Oh dear. Oh, yeah, that's my old runway, all right.
Here to meet me. I used to know this place very well.
Okay.
I lived here once.
Oh yeah?
The Delta Camp, when it was here, I ran it.
Oh, okay.
Hey, psst, I'm over here. No, look at the camera.
Come home.
Okay. Yeah.
It feels kind of strange, I must say. I've got this nervous tension and but this excitement about being back here. It's quite different. It's quite different to what I remember. But it smells the same. Come here. How do you feel about being back? How's it feel? Kind of funny, hey?
It's like 20 years hasn't happened in between. Honestly, it's just like being back. It smells the same.
Smells exactly the same. As I said, smells the same.
The sage. Elephants to meet us, the baboons on the runway. No different. Good.
Ah, look at that. This is elephant dung, and that's a Hyphene palm nut, and they require fire or the gut of an elephant to germinate. You plant that now and I can guarantee that you'll get a beautiful Hyphene palm tree. And in fact, if you get one before they're being eaten by an elephant, you can actually eat it yourself. The outside is covered in a sweet crust.
No. Our house is gone. Our house was there.
Remember? It was right here. And our house, I think, stood exactly where that building stands. Anyway, this is where we lived for a year. And we would wake up and we could see the windsock and see the palm trees and sky.
What we're looking at is no longer Delta Camp, but Oddballs Camp. Oddballs is the lower tariff of the two camps on the island. They're both owned by the same company and swapped locations about 6 years ago.
Exactly the same, then. Yeah, absolutely identical. And we lived in a house like this, and our accommodation units were just like this. But this is a little bit more rudimentary. With a low slung door. Go inside. We had beautiful mosquito nets. And we lived in a house just like this for a year. And the floor here, that they've got a bat in here or more, pooing on the bed. Oh, we wouldn't have tolerated that, eh?
Thank you. Andrew,
We've come to see our old kitchen.
The green
It's the same stove.
It's the same
No, they've
stove.
replaced the handles there. These handles were chewed by...
Fresh fridge is gone. No, there they are. There they stand. The cupboard.
and the smell is identical.
Yeah.
The smell is absolutely identical.
And then, of course, there was the fridge that the hyena charred.
That wouldn't be here, would it?
No, I doubt it.
No, I doubt it. No, I can't get over the smell. It's exactly the same. A mixture of marula jelly and paraffin. Now this was our dining room. It had a lataca wall, low-level lataca wall, and this was our dining room. And there, in that little alcove there, we had a serving table. Not unlike
that's where the
they've got it.
starlings used to
And
come.
the starlings used to come and pick at the cheese and
Except the Germans.
yeah. And ta-da!
There's
This
only
is this is the view.
There's only one palm tree left
Of
of
the
the
three.
All the other two are knocked down.
And this is our beloved little bay. You can see the water is very high. I don't remember ever seeing so much water from the front as this, eh?
No.
We never saw this much water. You know, I look back at Delta Camp and the year we spent here, and I can't say it's the
Highlight.
best time of our lives, but
It was a highlight.
I will go with it to my grave, and it will be one of the great highlights.
It was a defining experience in terms of our lives.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a defining experience.
There you go. Let's do that. Yeah. It's like riding a bike.
Well done. You haven't lost it.
That was fun, that was. No, but thirsty work. This is the runway. We called it, of course, the cricket pitch, because from the air it looks like a cricket pitch. I used to have to maintain it, and I used to have to try and water it down to keep the dust levels down. That's one of the reasons why they actually swapped Delta Camp and Oddballs, the location of the two camps, well after we left, because of the dust from the runway and also the noise of the airplanes. Oddballs is a distance away, and we're going to take a Mokoro now and go to the new Delta Camp. But this is the runway on which we played cricket with David Gower, where I scored a run off him. I like to tell everybody that, although I'm a hopeless cricketer and sportsman in general. I did, and it was also where David slugged something. It was his third or fourth ball, and he slugged a shot, and it went out like this, and I screamed, "Watch out for the snake!" So as the Australians were running after the ball, they hit anchors, and David just started catching runs, and I was lying, there wasn't a snake there at all. And this is where it all happened.
No.
This is Bob Avelino. I know Bob from my time at Delta Camp, and I bumped into him last night while just having an innocent meal at Audi Camp in Maun, and I saw his face on the menu.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to see you again.
It was really great.
Now, the year that we were at Delta Camp, were we good managers, did you think?
Yeah,
you can
no,
be
for
honest,
sure.
eh? You must be honest.
No, definitely.
You must be honest.
No,
eh?
for
Don't-
sure. I'm always honest, you know. No, you're really good managers. Really, I really enjoyed, working with you guys, when you were there. And
Yeah.
even your reference, I still got your reference, your written hand.
Oh,
reference,
did I?
Definitely.
Oh, did we write it?
And
Oh,
I still,
suppose-
and that's one thing that pulled me on.
Oh, really?
When I went to look for a job for management, I used
Yeah.
that reference. And that's what even got
Because
me
we
to-
had Matanta and you were a fantastic team. Apart from the fact that you used to play tricks and jokes on each other. You guys were a fantastic team.
Yeah.
Do you remember any highlights of the time that we were there in your mind, that stay in your mind, of things that happened while we were there?
Yes. I remember the time when we went to Juku Juku, to do the fishing.
Yes.
And that was really great, on a boat. And you allowed us as the manager,
Yes.
to be
Yes.
with you, which
Yes.
shows that you're really caring of us, and we really appreciate that time.
Yeah.
And we went out there to Juku Juku and we caught some nice nemboys and bream, and as we were just coming back. I remember with all
Did
those
you
incidents.
did you tell the staff that we were going to come back with lots of fish?
We didn't. But
Because-
just because they knew that we were going fishing, they expected something.
Because we arrived back and they'd made a fire and we all sat on the grass there in the front and ate fish.
Yeah, I think they just inspected it, you know.
We didn't expect it.
But the stuff, you know, how
Yeah.
they like, because they know that when you go
Yeah.
fishing, you sometimes catch something, you know.
But it was after hours, they were off.
Yeah, but they still, you know, because of that all excitement. So
okay.
they really just prepared
Yeah.
so that whatever comes,
Yeah.
they, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
Meeting and chatting with Robert was a real treat. I think our memories of Delta Camp and the Okavango are as rich as they are because of both the people we met and worked with and the extraordinary place the Okavango is. I'm hoping that the nostalgia doesn't end here. We're off now to Delta Camp as it now is, and I'm confident that there is some luxury pampering ahead. After 48 days on the road, I think I deserve it. During our year in the camp, we had to administer to the staff and guests various medicines when they were ill. When I was ill, I had a particular problem with eyes. I used to get terrible red eyes smarting from some exterior influence, like hay fever, but it was terrible, and it was just my right eye. And one of the guides saw that, and he said to me, "Oh, I know what to do." Now, he would have come to me for some hygiene or something similar, but he took me out into the delta, and he took me and found one of these. Now, I'm going to pull it out, and it's a beautiful plant, a beautiful flower, and there it is there. And that is a natural eyedropper. You pull off the flower, and what is inside there is a fantastic antihistamine or something like that. Because since that day, I've never had an attack of that kind of attack of red eye. Isn't it beautiful?
Hello, how are you?
So relaxed.
Oh, good.
Sleep now.
Hello. How are you?
49 days on the road and I'm taking a break. I'm well beyond the halfway mark in my journey to trace the course of the Okavango River. I've been to its very source, high in the highlands of Angola, and now poised to follow it to its end. My expedition has been halted for a short while, as I take in some well-deserved luxury in the heart of the Okavango Delta. I'm at Delta Camp, the camp that Gun, my wife, and I ran way back in 1991. For the next few days, Gun and I are going to make the most of our brief stay in this, one of the wonders of the natural world.
Andrew and I used to run Delta Camp, but when it was,
Oh, that side?
yeah,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Okay. Which year?
91.
91.
Delta Camp, even before we ran it, had a reputation for being one of the finest bush lodges in all of Botswana. And from my first impressions, now as a guest and not a manager, I can see why. But no lodge in the Okavango is cheap to run or cheap to visit. Even the cheap ones aren't cheap. The Okavango is seen by some as an elitist destination only for the rich, unlike most of Botswana, which definitely isn't.
Oh, wow, look at this.
Well, whatever the case, I'm going to make the most of it.
This is cool.
Yeah, and there's a hammock down there as well.
Things can't get much better than this.
There's an elephant. Right across there, beautiful.
Oh, wow, look at him.
Oh, how wonderful it is to have done absolutely nothing all day and then to rest. Delta Camp, and for the most part the Okavango, isn't the best place to see game. It isn't bad, it just isn't the best. However, to experience close encounters with wild animals, it's one of the best in the world. This beautiful creature has the strength to pull down every building erected here. But it's actually very rare that the elephants that walk into the camp actually damage it. He seems very at peace, don't you think? And for that matter, so am I. One of the primary attractions that bring people to the Okavango is this: the sublime tranquility of reclining in a mokoro, being poled rhythmically on the water by a man whose very being is tied to the ebb and flow of life in the delta. To go in search of even more close encounters, we're heading out on what is called a CIM. That's a Chiefs Island Mokoro Trail. We are slowly moving north alongside Chiefs Island, the largest landmass within the Okavango Delta. The idea is to leave the safety of the camp and set out in search of a secluded spot where we will still enjoy being looked after, but in a place well away from other people and hopefully close to the animals.
I've never done one of these myself, and while Gun and I ran Delta Camp, we sent many groups out on CIM trails, but never went on one ourselves. So here we go.
We are travelling with a number of experienced local guides. These men are rated as some of the best guides in Africa. Their knowledge and willingness to share it makes the experience one of a kind. I've noticed that a net has been strung across one of the channels. It's either illegal fishing in the reserve, or someone is ahead of us catching us dinner.
This is the 3-spotted tilapia. It's one of the bream. These are the spots, 3-spotted tilapia. And this is how do we set a net across the stream, then leave it for an hour, 2 hours. Then when we come to double check, we can catch more than 10 bream on the fishing net.
If the guides have set the net, then I guess it's dinner. Okavango bream are one of the finest tasting freshwater fishes anywhere.
These are all bream, 2 different types, red-breasted tilapia, 3-spotted tilapia.
Wow, amazing. All set up and everything.
We are also travelling with the producer of this show, Martin Steer, and his wife Jill. And our guide, TK, is going to be looking after us.
Our lovely spot. This is our campsite for tonight. And I'm going to introduce my colleagues to you. This is our chef,
Beauty.
Just
met.
And 2, these are all guides like ourselves.
Right.
Then they're gonna work together as a team with us.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Salpito in full.
Salpito.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
SP.
SP.
Hello, SP. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
So they work as a guide.
The first thing the guides do when we arrive is feed us. There's nothing wrong with that. The second thing they do is to suggest we walk it off.
And when we walk in a single file, please take your time. If you're very interested to taking some photos, just stop and take your time. Let's minimize our voice. We talk but not very loud. So sometimes we can miss very, very special animal like cats, lions or leopard. If we are very lucky, then we can see some. Yeah. And about animal, there are a few animals to see around, but our aim, because we are in foot, it is a bit different than car driving. Because out car driving, you can discover the whole area at a time. But out walking, it's very slow down. And our aim, when we go out for walking, we look for small things, which is like animal drop, animal tracks, plants, tree. That's what we discover. Like 3-4 days. And if we spot one of the animals, then we can approach.
That's quite heavy,
it's
eh?
very
That's
heavy.
a very heavy thing.
It's like metal.
It's his knee.
Yeah. This is the last one. The front leg.
Now tell me something. Why is it that this area, you've seen how many animals? 2 animals, 3 animals?
Two.
Why would they be in the same place?
This giraffe dead here, and the buffalo dead somewhere. And these bones carried by the hyena from the carcass all the way here.
So this would be a comfortable place for them to...
For them to eat. It's a diamond. This is the elephant broken tusk. It happens that when they fight and hit the tusk together, then this one or the other one, it will break like this. Or when he tried to open up the tree by pushing this into in the middle of the tree to open it, then the tusk sometimes broken like this.
Why do you call it diamond?
No, I was joking.
Because it's so rare.
Yeah, it's so rare, and some other people they're selling it.
Ivory is very valuable.
Yeah. Especially they're selling rhino tusk.
Look at that.
Not elephant.
It's heavy, hey?
Yeah, it's
Solid.
heavy.
Solid piece of tooth.
Are we allowed to keep it?
No, we just putting it
shame.
where we find it.
That's a
Or
shame.
we can picking it to the campsite and then it ends there. We cannot take it this
Yeah,
way.
no,
with
I
a shop.
understand that.
I'm on day 42 of my expedition to follow the great Okavango River from its source to its final resting place. And that is the beauty, the Kalahari smell.
Yeah.
That is unique. It's this.
Yeah.
It makes this,
Yeah.
especially the
And,
Okavango.
this sage, we've been using this long time ago in the olden days as a medicine for mosquito repellent.
Oh.
Yeah. Taking the leaf and burn it into the hut. When the smoke comes out, all the mosses will stay out because the smelly are very, very strong. You can just smell it.
No, it's strong.
Very, very strong smelly. Yeah.
Suddenly, TK stops in his tracks and commands us to be silent.
Down. They lay down. 2. I saw 2.
Then he orders us to back up further. I still don't know what he's seen. It's buffalo.
You can see the tail is moving the tail like this. They're laying down. I can still see them, 2 of them. But we were very, very close. If he did waking up, then we could charge. No, the wind was blowing that side. Yeah, we were sort of like downwind. Yeah. If he could waking up, then he could charge. Oh, it was very close, very, very close. Can you see him?
I can't.
Just come over here. Come over here. There's some. Can you see something looks black? Lower down, yeah. Can you see the tail?
Yeah.
The tail more to the right.
There.
Yeah. That's
very close.
Yeah. We were just by the bush there.
Seriously close.
Very lucky.
But why would the buffalo have changed? There are so few people in this area. How would it know that we are its enemy?
They have very low memory, buffalo and elephant. And they pass that memory to the new generation. That their enemy is a man and lion. Yeah. So any signs, then they should run off, and any signs closer, they will attack. This when we went very close, we were very, very close. So if they did hear us, then it was a charging. They won't run away from that close. It was
Because
something
we were too close.
something like I would say 12 meters. We were very close.
Watching game while on foot is an utterly different experience from viewing them from a vehicle. The smells, sounds, emotions are unrestricted. It also wears you out in the nicest possible way.
It's very early following morning, a little fly camp on Chief's Island. Last night was a very disturbed night. Well, for me anyway. I think many of the others slept very well, but there were hyena around, calling, yapping, laughing, a sinister call echoing through the night. So I stayed awake half the night. But anyway, apart from that, it was a lovely, comfortable night. Oh, Delta Camp fruit salads are always fantastic, aren't they? Well, we come up the following morning just to find out how close we were to the buffalo yesterday afternoon before we had to make that hasty retreat. So we're now standing in exactly the same position as we were before Tico said, stick it in reverse gear and go flat out. And this was the point.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to walk to where the buffalo were.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. I would count my feet. About 20 feet. This is where the buffalo were laying down. It was one laying down here, and there was one laying down somewhere. Yeah. It was very, very close. Very close. Yeah.
We are returning to Delta Camp. It's time I continue my journey following the Okavango. The Okavango is one of very few rivers in the world that never finds the sea. I am determined to find what happens to it and follow it to its last resting place. Our visit to the Okavango, and particularly Delta Camp, has been full of emotion for Gwyn and I, having once spent a full year here. It's been a defining experience in our lives, and I guess the Okavango always will be. 19 years ago I said farewell to the Okavango. I knew I would return someday. I had no idea that I would be returning to make a television film about it. The visit has been wonderful, it's been nostalgic, and the Okavango is as glorious as it's ever been. Back on the road again, on our way to the southern part of the Okavango Delta. There are two main rivers that run south into the broader Kalahari. I'm going to try and follow both of them. The first one ends up at Lake Ngami. Lake Ngami has for many, many years been dry. When I first visited there in 1988, it was just nothing but wildflowers. It was very difficult for us to even find the bed of the lake. And actually a cattle farmer in the area offered to show us, and we charged through the bush and he showed us the bed of the lake. What I'm going to try and do now is find that same bed, but it's been flooded for the last 4 years. And so now we're going to try again. I imagine it's going to be pretty difficult because it's covered with very, very thick bush all around it. So we're going to do our best now to try and get a better look at Lake Ngami. From Lake Ngami we're going to then travel to find the other river called the Boteti, and I'm going to try my best to find the place where the water actually disappears, because the river literally stops. It literally just comes to an end in the middle of seemingly nowhere. I'm going to try and find that point. Believe it or not, this, the Nabe River, is the lesser of the two that drain the Okavango. It certainly has been quite a story. The river I've been following chose this year to put on a spectacular display. That's the problem with the area. I remember when I was here in 1988, there were a million roads, a million tracks, a lot more tar here than there was then. But I remember I struggled for hours in this thick thorn bush to try and find the lake. Hopefully with Mike's help, we'll get lucky. This is exactly how I remember it. Driving on a narrow track through tall trees, knowing that we're pointing towards the lake and waiting to see it. But this time I know that I'm going to see water, but when?
Okay. Nice to see the kids out there.
Something's happening. A flood by the look of it. On this part of my journey, I have rejoined with friend and Kalahari expert Mike Main. So, Mike,
Yeah.
I think we have a problem.
Yeah, but you've got rubber linings on your door, haven't you?
Yeah, very funny. What are we going to do now?
Isn't that an amazing sight?
Yeah.
That's how big the lake is. The lake has come right up to that. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you can see
That's the ridge. That's the ridge.
that's the ridge.
You're going to try and get us on that ridge.
Yeah, we were going to go across here and then turn left before the ridge, hoping to encounter the lake.
Okay.
So I think we've encountered the lake. Let me just check if this really is.
Ngami.
Is this water? Yeah. Yeah, it's water. It's Lake Ngami.
It is water. Oh, it must be Lake Ngami.
That is extraordinary. It's a big lake now. Oh, we're going to have to go around from the end to see if we can get onto the Toteng end of that ridge, so we can get a view down on the lake. Probably it's still rising.
Still coming up.
Yeah.
And the last time it was like the 74.
1974. It was a long time. Yes.
It's very nice to see, huh?
Amazing.
And those kids, did you see the children fishing? They fish with an iron bar. And
Okay, with this
that's how they kill the fish.
that's what this little guy got it. He's standing here with the bar, and as the bar will come in,
a nice fish.
Amazing. I mean, that was the thing before. We would be driving and we didn't actually realize we were on the bed of the lake because it didn't look like a lake, because there was no line where the lake was and where the bush started. And the same thing has happened now, but the other way around, because now there's so much water, whereas before there was none. So much water, you still can't see the edge of the lake because the water is just going into the bush. It's unbelievable. I don't know where Mike's gone. He's vanished. He's just... The road, I mean, it's blocked. I can't go any further. I don't know where he is. This is, again, this is the edge of the lake. We've hit the edge of the lake. This is Lake Ngami. This is Lake Ngami. Our guide here, Bob, showed us the way through the bush. Our guide, Mike, has disappeared. We travelled for about 15 minutes through pretty heavy thorn trees. This is exactly what I said. Well, not quite. When I first came here, I stood here and said, there's absolutely no water at all, but thank God we found it eventually. This is Lake Ngami, but I was standing on green and there were bushes with lots of little insects around, and our guide was with us, but now our guide's gone. He's vanished. I don't know where he couldn't have gone that way because there are a million birds in the water. And this time I am standing in water, and you know something? I'm only 2 meters from the edge of the road.
where it's an utter and complete contrast. Whereas before there wasn't a drop of water anywhere, here you can't even get to the original border edge shoreline of the lake because of the water. we just can't get to the lake because of the water. It's unbelievable. Oh, hold on. It is really something. It is really something. The water is everywhere. Amazing.
So I must go and find Mike, but I still want to shoot some footage of these water birds. Okay, time to go. I've got to find out where they went, and I've got to do it before it gets dark.
Now this is 4 k's back towards the main road. There's a village over there, so I'm trying to recognise tyre tracks. I can see the caravan's tyre tracks, but I don't see Mike's tyre tracks. I think this was a test. There they are. They abandoned us to do what we do best. Film nice birdies. Swines left us to fret and find the track.
I'm really confident now. I am almost unable to take it in. I've been on the road for 55 days, and I think I am about to find what I've been looking for. When my journey began, I was travelling on my own. I mean, really on my own, not even with a camera crew. Then I met a group and went into Angola, with the primary task of finding the origins of the Okavango.
We've reached the Okavango River. This for me is significant.
This I did, and at the headwaters collected a sample in a bottle. Then for 3 weeks with the same group travelled through Angola, ending up in Botswana at the place where the Okavango River enters that country. I've been all this way, following flowing water. I've been on the river and in the river, and I got stuck in it.
You right there, Andrew? Yeah, no, I'm just trying to walk and keep my shoes on because they want to be left behind in the mud.
Looked at the river.
Can't resist this stuff.
And now I am determined to find its final resting place. You see, the Okavango River is unique. It never finds the sea, but instead this vast delta, still pristine and almost untouched. The waters of the Okavango Delta drain through 2 rivers. This one, the Nabe, which flows into Lake Ngami. Lake Ngami is fickle.
The following morning I've climbed up a small hill and now overlooking Lake Ngami. If you look very closely behind me you can see a sliver of silver. That's actually the lake. The lake proper where the bushes are very low and the water is at the moment covering them. This is a vast body of water. Not deep. Average depth 30 or so centimeters, and it is one of 2 of the last resting places of the waters of the Okavango. The other is about 200 kilometers away, and I'm going to take you there now.
And this now is the Boteti.
So now the challenge is to... Okay, this is Boteti River, this is the river we're looking for, but the challenge is to find the end of it. Where does it actually end? I mean, we know the water's very, very high, and you can't drive along the river. So I actually want to find the point where it stops, where the water stops. That's what I'm going to find out. Okay, it's the most amazing. Again, there's this enormous volume of water. Those guys are fishing there.
The person who is helping me conclude my expedition is Kalahari author Mike Main. He knows this area intimately.
Hey, there are children are running with stomachs like this.
This is the river that takes the water the furthest south. But where does it take it? Normally it dries up somewhere, but this year the water levels are so high that we're struggling to find its end.
So what Mike's doing, driving along the river and then going down to see if the water's there. Then coming back up, driving along a bit further to go down to see if the water's there. Trying to guess where the end of the water is. But not far back, it was flowing really strongly, so I don't know, my guess is that it's going to be flowing strongly here too. It's not unexpected, eh?
What?
How high the water is.
Yeah, absolutely. I walked across there, I can't, last year sometime.
Yeah.
It was up to the middle of my thighs.
Okay.
But you won't walk across there now. And there'll be crocodile, hippo in here.
Oh.
Oh, big, yeah.
All right.
Just around the corner is Kamaka, well known for its huge pools that persist for years after the rains.
Oh, okay.
Big crocs in there.
Quite warm. Strong flow on the other side.
The locals say they haven't seen water this strong in over 20 years.
Phew, it's hot too. It's really hot.
Field here.
I think we've a long way to go. How far do you reckon the end is?
Well, I think it's very close to Rakops now. 8 weeks ago we found it 25 kilometers from Rakops. I think we're going to find it very close to Rakops.
And that's at least 100 k's from here. It's a bit more.
It is, yeah, it's more than 100 k's from here. This could well get to, Motopi, which is where it begins to open out into the delta.
There's a big pan there, isn't there?
That's Mopipi, Motopi. Mopipi.
Yes, this is Motopi.
But it's actually the delta. It's a huge delta area of the old delta for the Boteti.
Okay.
And the water flows into there and it works its way into Ntwetwe Pan and Soa Pan. I don't think it's going to go that far, but it's now beginning to do what it did 30 years ago.
Okay.
Be nice to see.
Everywhere we stop, there is more and more water. People are saying here that they cannot remember when this last happened. What are they going to say about the water at the place where it stops?
Is it a hippo standing under the tree over there, or is it a cow? I think it's a hippo.
There indeed is a hippo, resting with the cows. The high water is even too much for him. It's hard to imagine that this amount of water ever ends. But it does. It will never reach the sea. What will we find at its end? I really thought that I was going to be able to conclude my expedition today, but it wasn't to be. It's getting late, so Mike selects a secluded campsite for us on the outer edge of an area called the Magadi Gadi Pans.
You did insist on beautiful campsites. I know.
I mean, and this country where there's absolutely nothing. I just love it.
I don't want you to try and photograph sunsets and trees here. The Boteti is about 500 meters that way. Go and sit down in the bank and look for birds again. We'll take photographs of the sunset. Anyway you like. The fire's over there.
I'm going to go around Mark and go the other side. Martin,
Yes.
welcome to the Makarikari Pans. I'm serious. This is actually, can you see that far ridge of trees? You can hardly see them.
Yes, I can.
That's actually a sand ridge which we crossed over when we were close to the Boteti.
Yes.
We came up that bank and we came back down. There were lots and lots of trees.
Yes.
And the sheer cliffs of the Boteti, that's the sand ridge. And that marks the westernmost edge of the Makarikari. So what you're seeing now, this enormous flat plain of absolutely nothingness,
This is the beginning.
is the beginning.
Wow.
My favorite place on the whole earth.
Incredible.
This is it.
It seems fitting that I should conclude what has been one of my most ambitious expeditions in what is probably my favourite place of all, the salt pans of the Makarikari. Tomorrow I will finally see the end of the Okavango.
Well, it's very early in the morning. We tried last night to find the location where the Boteti River, one of the rivers that drains from the Okavango, where it has reached at this moment in time. We didn't find it. We arrived here late afternoon, these beautiful trees. Sun was going down, there was dust behind the vehicles. It was absolutely magic. We didn't manage to find the end of the water. The water is so high, it's rushing down the Boteti River. And my idea is, because I have travelled from the very source of the Okavango all the way down, that I should actually find its southernmost point. Didn't find it yesterday. Got to try again today. We've asked the locals and it is close. We know we are close, but the water is rushing. And we want to try and find that place where it's literally just kind of rolling along dry ground along the Boteti riverbed. So that's the first thing that we're going to try and achieve this morning. So I better get up.
This car has been my home for over 8 weeks. As I pack up this morning, I must get out something that I'm going to need. Today for the first time. It's a bottle of water, but not just any bottle of water. 33 days ago, I stood at the very source of the waters of the Okavango and filled up this bottle. Today, I'm going to put it all back.
It's not drinking water.
Time to give away some fruit to the locals and be on our way. We haven't gone long, and Mike stops, gets out, and finds something.
You could at least congratulate me on a fine piece of planning.
Right here.
It's right here.
I didn't even know what I was looking at.
That was the river, yeah.
I had no idea I was looking at this. It's the river. We found it. We found it. We found it. We found the river. I didn't know what I was looking at. Look at this.
Hey, have you seen the dead record? Oh, this is it. This is the water pouring occasion.
This is absolutely amazing.
This is the man I told you. That water has come from the very start of the Okavango.
Yeah. The very top of the mountain.
Is it?
Right at the top.
And now what are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
You're going to help the Okavango, the Boteti, make its
But it's
way.
going there anyway.
Yeah, but give it a hand.
Okay.
goes lovely. Well done. You got to join the two. You got to join the two. You got to make it join.
Is it going to work? Will I have enough? Will I have enough?
Come on, come on. Yes!
There you go.
Well done, Edward.
I added 1 foot to the length of the Okavango River, the Bateti River.
Fantastic. Well done.
That's kind of the end of my expedition.
Yeah.
I can go home now.
That's one big journey.
Monster journey.
Yeah, well done.
Amazing. Look at that.
That's a serious journey you've done.
Yeah.
It's a worthwhile journey. That's actually fantastic, Doug.
Isn't that
now
something?
we've got to work out how far it's moving, so we'll start it there.
Okay.
And it's quite emotional, you know. I think as we journey to find the source of this water, thousands and thousands of kilometers away, it's just shock.
Yeah, it's quite a feeling actually of accomplishment. Actually did it. Actually did it. With one hand. The waters of the Okavango. Come on then.
That's lovely.
Oh, it's getting behind me. Oh, that wouldn't work. Look at that, eh? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is so amazing.
Incredible.
Huh? So this really is the end of my journey, if I choose to make it so. I must say I'm quite tired, but this experience now of just seeing this, it's just given me a lift.
It's made me think. From here, where? Where can this water end up? That'll be my last stop.
In Twetwe Pan, part of the Makarikari salt pans, the very last place the water from the Okavango can reach. It only ever reaches here every 100 or so years during times of extreme flood. Yes, the flood we have just experienced, lived through, is extreme. It takes even more than that to reach Twetwe Pan. From here, it can go no further than be evaporated by the heat of the sun.
This is where I stood 3.5 months ago. I placed a rock on this pile. Can't imagine which one it is. Since I was here, even this has changed. Somebody's put a flag up here. And there are a number of rocks on top of the one that I placed here. I spoke at the time about my expedition, my quest to find the root of my love of Africa. I'm an Englishman, and I have this amazing job of going to these incredible places and filming them.
That's my position.
And I went back and found my roots. 20 something, about 27,000 kilometers later, there are some fantastic times. One of the highlights, for example, was in Angola, finding the source of the Okavango. It's an amazing place, completely unlike anything I expected. Just a beautiful place, beautiful spiritual energy about the place, and the clear water, and I collected some while I was there and then took that on my journey with me. I remember watching children play on tanks, on real Russian tanks, these grotesque symbol of war and death. These children playing on them and then swimming in the river at Longa. It was fantastic. And we had been looking at the people, and suddenly they started looking at us. And swimming in the river, and then the market at Monongwe. The vibe, the people, the music, it was wonderful. It was just so wonderful. And then getting into Botswana, meeting some people at Chikawi and watching the fish eagles feed. But I think of all of the things of this fantastic trip, the highlight was, the one that stands out above all the others, was finding, after seeing the source of the Okavango, going through it, being part of it, actually finding the water running down the Boteti River, where the villagers come down and watch the water pass them. And one of them commented that anybody standing there watching the water, older than 20 years old, would never have known that event. And I asked around, and they actually reckoned the last time that water had flowed along that particular stretch of river was in 1974. And then ending it at a favourite place of mine, Makadikari salt pans. The vehicle, I lost 2 fan belts. I had a problem with the battery isolator. Other than that, no problems at all. One remarkable thing though, not one puncture. Not one. I have never known service from tyres like that in all of the years I've been doing it. Not one. And I hardly chipped to anything. Fantastic. So the only thing for me to do now is to conclude the series by saying there'll be another one next year. A rock on the traveller's path. See you next time.